Welcome to Slow and Steady, a podcast where you get to follow along as we figure out how to build products and recover from burnout. I'm Brian.
And I'm Benedikt. Each week we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we figure things out. Today is February 23rd and I'm feeling good.
This is episode number 79 and I am feeling sleepy because I think I told you last week, I think, that so my new client that I've been talking about that I'm super excited about is Lego Ventures, which is like the incubator within Lego. And so doing some customer interviews and jobs to be done research with their incubator team. Super exciting. It's the coolest. They are also
that sounds great.
It's great. They're headquartered in Denmark. And so I've been getting on 6 a.m. calls with them. So to make the hours work.
Ooh, yeah, that's tough.
Which is fine. I mean, not complaining about it, just making for some sleepy mornings. So actually just got off a call with them before we hit record. So
I see. Interesting.
So
how's it going so far?
It's going really it's going really good with them. So there are 3 people that I'm working with, and they are just super cool, just really delightful people, great clients, and the work is going well. They're super appreciative. I can tell that they're learning a lot. So yeah, it's exciting. It's good. So
you were a little bit worried about this last week. At least it sounded like it.
Yeah.
Is that anxiety gone, or do you still feel like you have to deliver more than you're capable?
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly gone. I was mostly nervous about yesterday morning's call. That felt very, I don't know, just felt like some performance pressure. But as soon as it started, like all that goes away and everything feels natural and cool. We're just people. So yeah, the past 2 days have been fantastic with them. So
awesome. How long is this going to be running, this project?
Looks like probably like 6 weeks or so. Yeah.
That's a fair bit.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So give or take 6 weeks. And we'll see where it goes from there. But it's the work side of things, what I've been up to. How are you? How are you feeling? Would you say you're feeling good?
Feeling good. Feels like we had the first day of spring over here over the weekend. So it's sunny. It's kind of warm.
Nice.
I kind of want to start barbecues and pizzas and whatever. Eating outside. But it's a little bit too cold for that. So we see. But it's nice to be like, basically within a week it like totally changed. Like last week, beginning of last week, we still had snow and it was like -0, below 0 degrees and Celsius. have to add. And now it's like 20 degrees plus in the sun, so it's like nice spring.
That is really great.
Yeah, it's super nice. So that makes me happy, and also no major issues over the last week on the server side again. So my days are much calmer, and I get some work done, and actually being able to just work on one problem for the entire day and just like do some deep thinking and not jump around between fires that I have to put out. It's so much nicer. I can already feel like my entire mood is a lot better and I'm less stressed, and overall it's so much better.
Just a better way to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad. Are things feeling like and yes, you can maintain this and kind of see how to put this in place, or do you see some potential obstacles on the horizon, or how's all that feeling?
I'm pretty sure that there will be more problems in the future,
yeah.
but right now it's not like they're not obvious and they're not looming over me. So it feels nice for the time being. Last week I spent a little bit of time, or most of last week actually, to work on the identity resolution stuff that I talked about a little bit.
Yeah.
I was able to implement that BigQuery by not implementing a BigQuery, but a couple small ones. So that's working. The idea I had is working and implemented. It's not released or anything yet, but I can see like the problem is kind of solved, and now it's more a question of like integrating with everything else.
Nice.
But this week I decided to shift gears a little bit and go back to the company tracking stuff that I've been working on over the last several months, and try to get some more progress there, because we noticed that people started asking for it more often. So new trials are sometimes sending emails and everything. I don't see this company feature you're talking about. Like, what's up there? And so last Monday, yesterday, basically changed that feature flag to automatically enable once they start sending company data. So it's less confusing for people. And my goal for this week is also to revamp the user profiles as well as the company profiles to really show that data and like the connections and the relationships between users and companies and stuff like that. And that's been on my to-do list for a couple of weeks now, and I put it off because of other stuff. But it's nice to finally get to it, especially as the user profiles, and in a way also the company profiles, because they're more or less a clone of it. They're probably the oldest view code of the entire code base. I'm not entirely sure if I did work on the user index page first when I got started, or the user profiles. I think it might have been the profiles. So that code is like 3 years old now.
Yeah.
So it's nice to get back in there and rip a bunch of old stuff out and put some new shiny things in. And I think the new profiles that Jane designed they make much better use of the available space. Like right now they're pretty narrow and like only a small column in the middle of the page, and the data is kind of crammed in there. And with the new profiles, we use like the entire width of the browser and have some tabs in there so you can view different aspects. And I think it will be a lot better and hopefully a lot more useful. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Sounds good. It's exciting, man. Is there will there be, do you have like marketing planned around it? Is there a deadline that you're trying to hit, or is it kind of just a little bit more, it'll be a little more organic? And
there is a deadline. The deadline is end of January. So we're way past that deadline. And we kind of decided in January to shift gears a little bit back then already, and like not try to push that and like just focus on that, but like be a little bit more fluid in the stuff we work on, because we have so many things to move forward. Like the marketing aspect is one of them. So it felt like it makes sense to make a little bit of progress on all of it. Especially as the company's features that it's usable, like it's behind the feature flag. People can use it if they want it. It's not super great yet, but it's good enough.
But
I guess
there. It is functional. People can use it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now with the new profiles in place, I think we can finally finish up like doing the screenshots for the marketing page, maybe record a video and stuff like that. Okay. So that's basically the one thing that's unlocking the launch of this, I guess. There are a couple of more things I want to get to, but I think this one is the most critical one, because like right now there's literally no way to see like relationship properties, like the user's role in a company and stuff like that. We don't expose that in the UI at all right now. Okay. So we kind of have to revisit this and improve this a little bit. And so that's the goal for this week. And then I guess we'll discuss how to move forward with this.
Cool. Did y'all ever implement the whole shape up process? I know we talked about it, a year ago or so. I feel like,
I feel like we implemented parts of it. So we do a little bit of shaping, but it feels like we're not following it that closely in the last couple of months. Probably because we're still like jumping around between stuff, and like it's hard to just focus on one thing for 6 weeks.
Right.
That rarely works. But for most things, we at least like write a document that outlines what we want to do, like what are the goals and what are the no-goes and what are the open questions. So we do a little bit of shaping, like write a pitch in a way. But that's about it.
But then not necessarily adhering to the time boxing part of it. Like allowing yourself to move around. I'd imagine that has to be much more standard for smaller teams. The idea of, well, we have to kind of cover multiple things at once.
And I think at some point I heard them say that that's basically the mode of operation for like startups and small teams, which doesn't make sense to. I mean, it's not feasible at all, because there's so many responsibilities that you just can't be sure that you will have like 6 weeks of uninterrupted time to work on this. So stuff gets moved around no matter if you want it or not. So I think that's just how it is.
Yeah, probably so. What else you got going on?
That's basically the big things on my side. Preparing for this recording, I was like, now that things are calm, I don't have a lot of things to talk about.
Good.
Because the day-to-day work is pretty boring in a way, which is also kind of nice.
Which is nice. Yeah.
But it doesn't make for interesting radio, I guess. But Jane is working on more marketing stuff. We will probably launch the paid ad campaigns with like new lead magnets this week. It just like earlier, like a couple minutes before we started recording, I finished the last styling tweaks for those templates, so she can create like multiple landing pages for different lead magnets. And what she also started a couple weeks ago already, and I didn't really realize until last week, is she started doing outreach to potential partners for workshops / webinars.
Cool.
And I think, as far as I'm aware, there are 2 booked already. One is next week, and the other one is the week after. They're basically offering other like services or the tools that we run a workshop for their audience, and basically take care of all of it, like host it, even write the email outreach for them, so they can announce it to their email list, and basically have like do a live webinar with a interesting topic, probably on user onboarding strategies and stuff like that, and then just try to get in front of more people with that strategy.
Nice.
I'm excited about it. I mean, we don't have any numbers to show or something like that, but it feels like this is the right thing to do at our stage.
I mean, it just it makes complete and total sense, given
doesn't cost much.
Yes. Yeah.
And hopefully gets us in front of more people, and maybe even builds a few relationships with other companies. So I feel like this could be interesting.
Cool.
Yeah. I think that's the main thing. Anything else? Oh yeah, we finally were able to update our segment documentation.
All right.
It feels like weird to mention it, but it took about 3 months or so to get access to their GitHub repository and be able to like submit a pull request. So it feels like more of an achievement than it should be. But it was It was merged. The updates were merged late last night, and so now we have documentation on how to use the company tracking feature with Segment, and that's kind of cool. Yeah.
How I think I asked this before, and it hadn't. I don't think it was huge just yet. Like, do y'all see much, inbound lead generation just from the Segment marketplace or their app store, whatever they call it?
I haven't checked in a while, but I think it's not significant.
Okay.
I think it's probably because it's a large marketplace,
huge,
and
yeah, okay, and that's kind of why I was curious. Does that mean that?
I think the biggest reason to do it is still like ease of integration for users who are already using it. I know of some trials and maybe even some customers who actually found us in the marketplace and started signing up because of it. But I'd say it's the minority by far. So I'm not sure if it's actually worth it in that regard.
Right. I mean, the biggest thing is just removing that obstacle for a new customer who's already using Segment. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm still putting a lot of hopes in like other integrations, but no real progress on that front just yet because of the other stuff that's going on. But I guess once the company thing is in place, that will be the next thing that I'll do in parallel to the marketing stuff, like build infrastructure for integrations and figure out how to do that in a great way. And then with the energy resolution in place, we can probably tackle a Stripe integration at some point in the mid-term future. And that, I'm pretty excited about that.
Good stuff. Lots of exciting things.
What about you? What's new in your world?
Well, so I mentioned the Lego thing. That's been super exciting. With the board game. So let's see, today we're recording this on Tuesday. Friday night, we had our first completely blind playtest, meaning there's a group of 3 people who meet to meet online now, play board games, every week or a couple times a month. And this week they said, yeah, we'll play Backpack totally. So sent them the rule book and a link to Tabletopia. They read the rule book, played the game, and gave us feedback. And that felt like a huge win. Just the fact that they were able to read the rules, play the game. I was, just basically waiting on an email at any minute to be like, hey, we gave up after 20 minutes because we couldn't even figure out what to do. But they were able to play the full game. And they actually won, which, well, I'll get to that in a minute. But so there were three players, and they filled out this post game survey, and one of them really loved it, wants to play it again. Lots of good feedback. One person kind of in the middle, yeah, I'll totally play it again, but here are some things I would change. And one person was like, it was a little bit boring for me. If you made some changes, then I would give it another try. So like good mixed reviews. But I mean, encouraging in every single respect, because even the negative review is like, okay, cool, yeah, these are all things that we can change to make the game better. So that just felt like a really big win.
That's pretty awesome. Was there a correlation between like their feedback and the role they were playing?
Yes, as a matter of fact. So they the one who was bored was the hiker, and the other two were on the rescue team, the rangers. And so I mean, so what that showed us is that the earlier versions of the game were just a little bit too brutal, like just too deadly and too hard, for the hiker. And so we made all these revisions, added some abilities to some cards, made it a little bit easier to kind of boost your your supplies as the hiker. And what that has done is now basically, the hiker can kind of just like camp out and survive. It's a little too easy to survive. So his feedback was, I mean, I was literally just sitting around waiting for them to find me. And that is not at all what it is supposed to feel like. It's a survival game. And so the design the design approach is the hiker always dies without help. Like always. There should be no way that the game allows the hiker to survive past, 8 or so rounds without direct help from the rescue team. Otherwise, the rescue team gets bored. Like, why are they even in the game? Anyway, and so we've overcorrected, and now the hiker can survive on their own, which is no good. And not only from that feedback, but we've seen that ourselves, like replaying a few things. And so, and it's that the other feedback we've got on it is that it's just too long. Like the game just lasts too long. You should run out of time or you should die, at like by the 10th to 12th round, and because you can survive, then the game can just go on and on and on until you eventually win, which is just not, it's not fun. You just get bored.
Yeah.
So, in terms of based on all of that feedback, in software terms, we feel like we have a major version release that we need to work on. Like we're on, version 1.5. The changes that we need to make, it's actually going to be a 2.0 kind of a release, because we need to completely change the way we need to introduce a countdown mechanic. So that you don't have for forever to find them. You have either 12 rounds or imminent death for the hiker. Whereas right now there's no countdown. You can just keep playing rounds as long as you survive. So we need to introduce a countdown mechanic. We have to change the way that some of the effects apply to everybody, not just the hiker. There's like a handful of things that we have to remove and add, and they're significant enough that it doesn't feel like, oh, okay, yeah, we just got to change some text here, put this thing over there, and then keep going. It feels like a pretty big change. So, which doesn't feel like a setback at all. It feels to me like a huge step forward. It's one more, one more good round to get out of this local maximum that we've been trying to kind of explore and stuff. Like, okay, the next thing is right over there. This will be better.
Do you feel like the countdown mechanic is absolutely necessary, or would it be enough to just like make things more risky for the hiker?
The reason that I think it's necessary is that I think that games are more fun when there are multiple ways to lose. Like you can either lose because something. Have you played? It's a weird game to talk about right now, but have you played the game Pandemic?
I have not, but I know about it. Yeah.
Okay. So in Pandemic, you can lose in a couple of different ways. Either your deck, the deck you're drawing from runs out, which is basically a countdown timer, or you have, I think it's like 8 outbreaks, which happen because you don't control the disease cubes on the board well enough. So you can't only focus on just keeping the board in control. You have to do it in a certain amount of time, so that adds some urgency to the types of moves that you're picking. So there are some other examples, like in co-op games, where there are a couple of different ways that you can lose the game. And so I think it does two things. It adds some urgency. It guarantees that a game doesn't run too long, and gives you another thing that you're kind of having to balance. You're not only managing resources, now you're managing time. Well, that's more interesting. It's at least a more difficult puzzle to solve, which adds to replayability.
Yeah.
So,
that makes sense. Yeah, interesting.
So, So then the other thing that has kind of been helpful is we at least feel like the general components in the game are probably very close to what we'll end up needing, like roughly how many cards, roughly how many cubes and little components and tokens. And so I mentioned that we're trying to get like some pricing quotes, but Chinese New Year has been going on, and so that's been delayed. But there was another site that we were able to go through to look and see, like, okay, probably gonna come out to like low 20s, for the production cost, which means if our price for it is, $39, which is like a super reasonable price for a midweight tabletop game, then we're in good shape. We're not like, we're not way outside of some range of being able to have a reasonably priced game with some reasonable amount of profit built into it. So that feels pretty encouraging.
Nice.
So yeah. Yep. And I've been in the spirit of product research, I've been using it as an excuse to pull out all these other board games of mine that I haven't played in a little while. Like, oh, how do they do their player mat? What's their rule book look like? I need to play through this a little bit. It is really fun to look to get those games out and look at them from a totally different point of view in terms of production choices on is your player mat cardstock, or is it thick cardboard, or is it like just plain card material? So now it's get all that and pulling some inspiration from some really great games. But
nice.
So that's what's going on there. I'll hopefully get this revision out and get some more playtests lined up. So it's feeling good progress, really good progress. And then, on the year on the road side, we're like super close to, closing on the vehicles, getting hopefully soon getting a giant truck and fifth wheel in our driveway for a little bit. But I mean, it's nuts. This is like the last week of February. We leave on the last day of May. That's wild.
Oh, that's not that far out.
No, it isn't.
It's
not that
happening.
far at all. So,
it's
yeah,
basically
man.
2 months, right? I mean,
3 months. 3 months.
March.
We have all of March, April, May.
All of them. Yeah. Okay. 3 months. Yeah.
I really can barely even believe that it's going to be here before we know it. But so I got to do some driving training. But that means getting these vehicles here so I can figure get used to hauling this thing around. I do feel like I need to really dive deep on the whole like Wi-Fi cellular solution. Because I've got kind of the rough outline of how people do it, but now I need to really dig in and start buying the gear and working from the driveway without the benefit of my home Wi-Fi as soon as I can, so I can at least get a sense of what it'll be like. But yeah, it'll be interesting to record our first episode from the road.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Like different backgrounds every day or every week.
Well, might be the same background, just not the same background noise. Like, here I am in my tiny room once again. I'm actually I think the first couple recordings might be a little boring because we'll just be just driving across Kansas and the Midwest trying to get over to Maine. But yeah, we'll see. I should actually once we have it, I'll post our itinerary in the show notes so we can see where we are.
Yeah. I was thinking that we should maybe include a map like in the show notes, like Brian's current location during this recording.
Yeah, for sure. We should. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
That's all I've got. Good progress on the consulting side of things, good progress on playtesting, and we're gonna be on the road before we know it. So that's all I got. Gonna probably go take a nap.
You deserved it. You got up early today.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to talking next week. Good catching up.
Yep. See you. Bye.